All right, coaches. Hey, we're excited today. We have our final Elite 10 panel, and today we get to have you. Well, really, you get the opportunity to ask questions of number 3, 2, and 1 from last year. So this year, 2020, our current number 3 coach, current number 2 coach, and our current number 1 coach in the entire network. So I'm going to introduce them one at a time. The current number 3 coach in the entire network is Moira Kusaba with Team Together Rising. She is a 4-time elite coach, superstar diamond coach. She joined Team Beachbody in March of 2015. She's 57 consecutive months in Success Club, and she's from Isle of Palms, South Carolina. Moira Kusaba. Woo, love Moira. All right, number 2, Holly Hilliard. Team TNT. She's a 3-time elite coach, superstar diamond coach, joined Team Beachbody in September of 2014, 64 consecutive months in Success Club. From Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, Holly Hilliard. Now, I should say these Success Club numbers are as of January, so those are old. So, Moira, you're now over 60 months, and Holly, you're almost at 70 months. All right, the number 1 coach this year is from Phoenix, Arizona. She's like 76 months, 77 consecutive months in Success Club. Joined Team Beachbody in October of 2012. Has sponsored 41 people last year into the Beachbody Challenge. She's a superstar diamond coach, 5-time elite coach, 3-time top 10 elite coach, 2-time top coach of the year, and our 2020 top coach of the year, Ashley Molstad. And with her team, Follow Your Bliss family. Like, she's rock star. Okay, what we're going to do, guys, we've got questions that have been submitted on the champions page, and we're going to go through this. I've tried to segment them so they make more sense, but let's just kind of jump into this quickly. So the first question we'll have all 3 of you answer is, what is your favorite personal development book? Easy.
Yeah, mine's easy. I'll go first. The thing that completely changed my life was the book. I'm trying to look it up so I get it correct. It's only on Audible because it's a presentation, but it's by Brene Brown, and I think it's The Power of Vulnerability. So you have to actually listen to it. But in there is where she talks about, the power of vulnerability. And she talks about how important it is to kind of, that we've all got shame and we all have things that make us feel really vulnerable, and that's kind of your power. And reading that book is when I started to open myself up and let people see all those shame gremlins and the things that I was, burying deep down that I didn't want people to know about. And that allowed me to then grow into be my full authentic self on social media. So The Power of Vulnerability, for sure.
Awesome.
I love that. Can I jump in with I think there's way too many to list. So I love books, but I'm going to give my top 4 for new coaches. My top 4 for new coaches are The Compound Effect, Go for No, First Steps to Wealth by Danny Johnson, and Get Over Your Damn Self. And I really tell my team, you have to read these books in the first few months, or you are going to come up against hurdles that you aren't going to be able to get over. So those are my top 4 for new coaches in the first few months. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have 2. One, the book that changed me and gave me the confidence to really feel like I could do this was You Are a Badass. It just made me feel like the why not me question. But recently, my new favorite, it's a newer book, is The Miracle Equation. So it's by the guy who wrote The Miracle Morning. And Miracle Morning's great, but it's missing the second half. So Miracle Equation is Miracle Morning, how you start your day, plus the slight edge / compound effect. So it takes the slight edge and then gives you kind of some of the instructions and framework to really put it in place. So that has been and that, again, that's a newer one. And I absolutely love that one for new coaches now.
Awesome. Love it. Okay. So again, all 3 of you. And this was a simple question. How long were you a coach before you achieved the diamond rank? Ash, why don't you go first again?
I signed up, like Doug said, in 2012 for the discount. I was working my dream job, never had any intention of working the business. And then in 2013, I started just sharing this with my friends and kind of treated this like a hobby. And so, you know, I'd hit Success Club here and there and whatever. I didn't start running with this business until the beginning of January 2014. And probably that month or the next month or something, I went diamond.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I can say the same as, like, I was a failed challenger for over a year. So I was in this kind of ecosystem. I enrolled you said it earlier, I don't even know because it didn't really change anything, March or April, but I started running in July and I went diamond in August. And that's why I think all of us will tell you, I know these girls, that diamond is a 30-day thing. Like, even if you don't do anything for a year, you might not do anything for a long time, but like when it comes down to it, if you're pushing for diamond, it happens in 30 days, not any longer.
Cool.
Yeah. And so for me, once I signed up to coach, I was like, I'm going to build this business. But again, I still had my doubts. And I actually was in like a diamond push group and I didn't hit diamond. It took me 5 months to hit diamond. And I had a coach who was in that group. And she said to me, she was like, I was hitting Success Club 10 every single month without fail. And she was like, what? She said, are you going to make the decision to be diamond? And putting it that way, it put kind of onus on me. And I was like, what do you mean? I still need my business builders. And so I was once again pushing off that decision that, well, I'm doing my things, but I'm just waiting for other people. And it wasn't until I had someone say to me exactly what Moira said, that it is a decision. And in that last week of that diamond push group, which I remember where I was, we were moving cross country. I was sitting in a hotel room bed in the middle of nowhere and got totally called out. And I was like, I'm going to do it. And so I hit diamond during that second bed, but it did take me 5 months because I had to shift my mindset from other people were controlling my business and me hitting diamond to me taking control and deciding I was going to hit diamond.
Awesome. Love it. Okay. So now I'm just going to kind of ask each of you a couple of questions. We've got a bunch of questions to get through. Certainly, if you want to add to any of these, go ahead, but we'll start with Ashley. Ashley, what is the one thing you would do more of in the beginning of your business, knowing what you know now?
I don't know that I would go back and change anything that I did. I've always been very coachable. So, and when I joined, I didn't have the coach that enrolled me doesn't work the business. I didn't have a mentor. I had no training, but I did have the network. So I had national wake up calls and I had top coaches YouTube channels that they put so much free content out on. So I watched those and then I would do what they told me to do. And if I was afraid, I did it anyway. And that has served me very well. So one of the things that I think I did, I wouldn't go back and change it, but I think it's very important is to start thinking like a CEO right now. And so I started, like when people said, you know, check your back office every day. Run a challenge group every single month so that you always have something to invite to because you always want to be hitting Success Club. You know, I just feel like whatever they told me to do, I did. And I also set up precedents because even though I had time in the beginning, I didn't have a huge team. I had time, but to get on the phone with everybody or, you know, whatever I wanted to do. But I wanted to set precedents because I thought 5 years from now, I'm going to be running this massive organization and I need to start acting like that CEO now. I started this when I was working at Nike corporate. And so I'd always think Phil Knight started Nike. I always think, what would Phil Knight do if he started this? Like, right? If he hired somebody, and we don't hire people, but someone joins our team, right? And they just don't show up. They don't show up for work. Is Phil Knight going to be banging on their door like, hey, you got to come to work, help me build this company? Or is he going to go try to hire someone else or find someone else? And so I just always thought like a CEO from the beginning. And I think that is something that's really important. Maybe today you don't have $1 million business, but you never will if you don't start showing up now as if it will happen.
Awesome. Okay. So Moira, what really motivated you to take your business to the next level?
Oh, gosh, so much, you know. I think in the beginning, it's little things. I had to shift, just like Ash said, into that CEO mindset and that ownership that Holly was talking about. And and make a freaking decision that I was going to do this thing. And were there moments of doubt and fear and insecurities, like 1,000 every day, but I just kept kind of taking my power back. And, you know, I kept envisioning, and in my morning process, you know, talking about where I was going, talking about what I was going to build, talking about the team that I have that I didn't have, you know, I just kept leaning into that. And in the beginning, it was things like, you know, I wanted more than anything to have a pool, and I wanted to be able to send my kids to private school without my husband telling me we couldn't afford it. And so they were smaller things, but they drove me to do this. They drove me, and just the inspiration from this network, you know, and the crazy thing that I didn't know then that I now know is like, it's just entirely 100% possible. And back then I was like, maybe there's a thread of possibility that I could one day be like the unicorns. And it's like, it's 100% possible for everybody. You just got to show up and put in the work. And a lot of that is up here. A lot of that is like the work, but a lot of that is here. You know, I've been talking to my team a lot about like the law of the lid. Your business is only going to grow as much as you grow. And so if you don't expand this and break down some of those walls and self-limiting beliefs and all that other stuff, your business isn't going to grow. So.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay. So Holly, this is an interesting one that I think you'd be great for you to answer. It says, what does your daily, weekly, monthly schedule look like now? And what did it look like when you first started? Is there a consistent flow you follow?
Yeah. So I'm like such a scheduler. I am such a type A, crazy organized person, for good and bad. But when I first started this business, I was working a full-time job. We were traveling a lot. So I didn't have, you know, all day to just work my business. So for me, I set pockets of time. So I'm very big on time blocking. And so my morning, and this is pretty much still how I start every single morning. I start with my morning routine, right? It's going to be your gratitude, affirmations, meditation, all of that. My workout I would do in the morning. And then I also really, while I was working, I looked for other small pockets of time during that work day. So I commuted on a train into work. And so when I did my morning workout, I'd like have the video, and then I would edit it on the train on my phone and get that posted then. So I also had these small pockets of time, but in those small pockets of time, I made sure I had very specific tasking in there, because I find that when coaches have those very small pockets of time, they'll scroll and they'll be like, oh, I'm going to add to my network, I'm going to do this, but they're just scrolling. So really making sure if you also work in smaller pockets of time, that you have individual tasks assigned to those. And then at night, I would come home. Well, I also use my lunch break at work. And that's when I would do like one first like check-in in terms of messages, following up with people from the previous night. And then nighttime would be my next big pocket of time. And that is when a lot of, I mean, I'd already done the vitals, but my new invites would always come at night. So I'd finish off all my vitals. And I will also say, when I was actually now too, I just don't go to sleep until I have the things on my to-do list crossed off. And that doesn't have to be a crazy to-do list, but I think you need to look at the business activity tracker, and like, if those things aren't checked off, you haven't finished your job today. Like Ashley said, you're the CEO of your business. And so that was always, for me, there are my like non-negotiable things I'm going to get done. The business activity tracker has to be completely checked off. And so I would do that at night. And now my day is very similar. My morning, same morning routine. I'm editing, I edit my workout videos when I am nursing my son to sleep. Like, I literally, even in those small pockets of time, I know exactly what I'm doing. Now, working this full time, during my afternoon pocket, when kids are sleeping, that is when I am on calls with my team. And then at night, I'm back in my own business. You should always keep, you know, no matter how big your team gets or what your business looks like, those day one things that I did, you're going to continue doing those forever and always. And then in terms of like monthly, weekly, because that's just kind of my daily, but I like Ashley studied YouTube. I studied the top coaches on YouTube, and I followed Melanie Mitro's marketing plan. So the first week of the month, I ran a free group. The third week of the month, kicked off a challenge group. And the fourth week of the month, I would do like a live sneak peek. And I repeated that every single month. And then still today, I have my marketing plan. The end of every month, I plan my next month. And so I know what I'm going to be focusing on each week. And then on Sunday before each week, I actually plan out the topic kind of content for my post that week, so that I can make sure I don't write them out. I don't have my photos or anything. But if I know I'm going to be focusing on coach recruitment, then I need to make sure one of my public posts is about coach recruitment, right? It has to be about coaching. But I also am very cognizant of what does my social media look like, what's the smartest for my social media. So I don't want to be talking about coaching 5 times a week, right? I want to mix in family life. I want to make sure I have like an IGTV or a live in there. I want to make sure there's content that's resonating with my followers. And so it's kind of a mixture of what is my focus that week based on my monthly plan, and then what are the posts that are going to resonate as well with my followers and with what's happening in social media right now.
Awesome. That's a perfect transition. But I'm gonna touch this question, Ash, and then I'm gonna ask you a second question. But the first one, because it's been touched on twice now, is this coach says, my upline doesn't do coaching. How does a coach build a team with little or no mentoring? Like seems to be a common theme right now.
Yeah. Well, you know what's a common theme is excuses. So there is I don't care what your excuse is. You have abs, you don't have abs. You live in a small town, you don't know social media, you have no confidence, you're placed on a dead leg, you have no upline. I don't care what your excuse is. There is a top coach in the network who had the exact same one or multiple and just chose not to use them. So for me, I looked to, in the beginning when I started, I looked to Lindsay Matway. And Lindsay Matway was placed on a dead leg, had nothing given to her. And, she's incredibly successful and built this team for herself. And I'll be honest, there were lots of times where I was kind of bitter or pissed off that I didn't have somebody to kind of hold my hand and mentor me through it. But then I had this light bulb moment. And it was that because I didn't have my upline to train me, I learned from literally all of the top coaches in the network on their wake-up calls and on their YouTube channels. And so I really think part of my success is so much mindset driven. And because I was hearing all of these stories, people who came from, being in debt, being overweight, being depressed, whatever their broken background was, and elite was possible. Going full-time was possible. Being in the Million Club was possible. Doing whatever you wanted in this business was possible because they were all doing it. And so in my head, I was just like, oh, okay, well then, yeah, I'm a CEO of $1 million business. Oh yeah, I'm an elite coach. Oh yeah, I'm a top 10 coach, because it was possible. It just, so I feel like it doesn't matter where you were placed in the downline. Like we probably all have people every week. My coach doesn't work. Can I join your team? No, girl, work where you're at right now. You can cancel and wait 6 months, or you can build a bomb ass business in 6 months. Like it doesn't matter. Sure, a mentor might help you, but a mentor could also hold you back, because maybe your mentor is not doing that much and you can produce so much more if you the resources are there. You have everything at your disposal to be successful. It's up to you whether you're going to choose to take those resources or you're going to sit and keep living small. So I don't care what your reasoning is, you can be successful.
Awesome, Ash. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to jump, because the next section of this is about attracting, finding, and inviting. And we get the question all the time about how do you grow your following? But we'll jump to, so I'll throw that to you, Ash, out of the gate, just kind of a broad question because it's written that way. How do you grow your following on Facebook specifically, and then on Instagram specifically? Is there a difference?
There probably is a difference. To be honest, I don't know what that difference is at this point. The first 3 years or so, 4 years maybe, it was all Facebook, no Instagram. And now I'm pretty much all Instagram. I have 3 times as many followers on Facebook as Instagram. And my conversion is probably 3 times higher on Instagram than Facebook. So it's not about followers. I think that's where people are rough. I need more followers and then I could hit Success Club. I need more followers and then I can be a diamond or star diamond. You don't need more followers. You've got people there. I talked about this at Summit, but the idea is to serve people at your dinner table. So if you invite all your closest friends and family over to your house and they're so excited, they're sitting down at the table and they're ready to eat, you know, they're so excited to be there with you, having a good time. And instead of you sitting at the table with them who are already there for you, you're running up and down your street, banging pots and pans, trying to get more people to come to your party. When if you just focused on serving the people at your table, it would organically grow because they would talk about how funny you were and how good your food was and how awesome your friends are and all of those things. And so I don't have a real sexy, like, do this and your account will grow. I feel like good content, you have to have good content, something, you know, you've got to have a message, a niche, you've got to connect with people, provide value. And then you've got to be consistent, and then you cannot give up. You cannot give up when your following doesn't grow fast enough. I've seen people go superstar diamond with less than 2,000 followers. It's not that I say shit. Followers don't do shit. Fans will from you. Fans love you and they trust you, right? And if you had 2,000 fans, then imagine what you could do, right? In a year, help 2,000 people. Fine, I'm in. Okay, sorry, I'm talking too much. Next.
All right, you're good. You're good. So Moira, we're going to get into this a little bit because there's literally 3 questions that are asking kind of this same thing. But let me read this next one. It says, I've watched multiple trainings on growing my Instagram following, but it still doesn't click or work for me. I have followed the people on my favorite boutique page, blogger page, etc. Is there an easier or more effective way? Moira.
So I would say then you might not be putting up good content, because if people aren't following you back, that's on you. And you got to take ownership of that. So it's not just this like, you know, mechanism where I'm going to follow X amount of people and my following is going to grow by this. You have to be engaging your people. You have to be connecting with your people. You've got to be asking questions, and just, you have to be engaging for them to want to follow you. And if nobody's following you, that's probably the problem. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay. Holly, let's jump to the next one. Do you invite to the coaching business since the beginning, or once they start using the products and programs and have results?
So I will answer for me, and I know that this is different for other coaches. So I invite to the business opportunity before they've ever done anything. To me, I think of Beachbody as a company with 2 opportunities. We have a health and fitness opportunity, and we have a business opportunity. And we are blessed that this business opportunity means we get to be our healthiest, happiest selves. But I talk about the business opportunity public every day. The business opportunity changed my life just as much as the health and fitness side. And so I do not feel that it's my job to tell people which opportunity is right for them to begin with. And I have a lot of really successful coaches who said, I love health and fitness, but I need more for my family. I'm ready to dream bigger. I'm ready to build a business and to incorporate that passion for health and fitness into this business. And from day one, they sign up as a coach and they start their journey and they start sharing right away. And they are just as successful as my other coaches. Because you guys know, you sign up, you get, not only now are you in an incredible accountability group, but you have an incredible community of coaches. The support is there from day one. So I invite straight up to the business opportunity as well as health and fitness. I do not, only invite for my challenge groups.
Okay. Ashley, do you plan your week or months of posts and stories, or do you just write captions daily and story life as it happens?
I curate my feed, my posts more. So I have thoughts visually how I want my grid to look. I really am posting just once a day now with stories. So if you're not storying, that is a huge area that you really should be focusing on. I would say all of us could probably agree storying is where you're going to convert, where people really get to see the real you. I put 0 thought into my stories. I don't plan anything. I just show up as I am. If I fumble and I mess up, I still post it. I feel like stories are where people should see the real you, the behind the scenes. And then your feed should look, pretty and inviting, light, bright, eye-catching. And then I do think like when it's, how long ago did I post a transformation? How long has it been since I posted an invite? How long has it been since I shared my kids? How long has it been since I did a self-love post? Because I've got my things that I like to talk about. And so I do plan it based on that. When I was working full-time, I had to be much more intentional because I didn't have time to just like sit around and write posts. I had to plan things out. So on Sunday, I would plan kind of for the week. So I think you also need to see where your time is and how much time you have. But stories, I don't think you guys should be overthinking those. That is where your fans are. Your followers might be on your page. Your fans are going to be watching your stories.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, Moira, this is a good question. I mean, you've got such a great team. So I think this is one that you could, anyway, it'll be interesting how you answer this. So how did you figure out how to be unique when you were starting out struggling, when it's so easy to get caught up following top and elite coaches and mimicking what they do? I guess like finding your own voice.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it takes time. It takes time to get comfortable. And I think what you need to do is, not go out there and air all your dirty laundry on day one. That's not what this is about. But it is about stepping in and sharing with the world who we are. And I had to take baby steps and baby steps and baby steps and baby steps. People see what I share now with addiction and eating disorders and all this stuff that seems really crazy. I wasn't sharing any of that the first couple years, like at all, and never planned on it. But my confidence started to build as I started to put teeny tiny scary breadcrumbs out there that I was so terrified about. And I started to see the reaction, and I started to see the hope, and I started to see the connections really happening because I was speaking to my people. And so I think you have to really be you. Like, this is two-sided. I think you have to kind of step into who you are. And that's like part of this journey is like, who the heck am I? I didn't know who I was when I started this, truly. But it also, on the flip side, I had to look to top coaches and go, just like Ash was saying, like, how do I do this thing? Like, what am I supposed to be posting? How am I supposed to be talking? Oh, they're asking a lot of questions. Oh, they're doing this. They're not all saying like #Shakeology 21 day fix, like that's not what I need to be doing. So I really went to top coaches. Like, I remember going into the back office, looking at who the top 10 coaches were. I didn't know any of them at the time, and going to their social medias and learn, like using it almost as a textbook to learn from them. I was not copying content. I was not doing any of that, but I could. It's really, really hard for me to draw from an empty plate. Like, I can't like just pull creativity out of nothing, but I can read and look at different people's things and go, oh, I have that same story, and I've got 2 kids too. And that's something I've been wanting to say, and just kind of re-scripting it and using it for inspiration, but not duplication. And I think one of the best things I've ever heard recently is, I'm going to mess it up. I'm not going to mess it up. Create before you consume in the morning. So create your social media posts from your heart, from your life, from your reality before you consume social media. We need to do both, but so often we get in this like mimicky thing if we're like consuming all this social media before we create our own thing, or we get caught up in the comparison game. So like create, because you are consuming daily. So you are learning, you are getting inspired, you are figuring this thing out, but create before you consume every day.
Love it.
Can I jump in real quick?
For sure.
The other thing that I hear a lot of new coaches struggle with is like, well, my life's so boring. I don't do anything interesting. And I think everyone could think that. Just because you think it doesn't make it true. In the beginning, I thought like, what makes me different? And I didn't have kids to talk about. I had a dog. I worked at corporate. Like, I didn't have anything that made me super interesting. I thought that's honestly why part of my brand is that I like to drink, because John and my husband and I like to drink. Like, and that's not interesting, right? But that is just a part of what we like to do. We like to go out and drink, which sounds probably crazy to say here, but you can have something super mundane. And Doug, you told me about a coach whose part of her brand was peanut butter, right? There's a girl who like that just became a part of her brand because she was obsessed with peanut butter. And he said to me, find your peanut butter. So you all have something. They can be big things or they can be small things, but you've got a story to tell, and you have to stop telling yourself that you're boring, because you're not. You're very interesting. Every human on the planet is. You just have to believe that you are, and then start sharing that story. Find your peanut butter.
Love it. Love it. Okay. So Holly, what is the best way to follow up with people you've reached out to and have given information along with a share a cart? I don't want to feel naggy, LOL.
Yeah. So, I mean, first, if you've sent them a share a cart, like they've freaking given you their whole order. I mean, like these people want to purchase something, right? That you wouldn't have been able to get to giving them a share a cart. So one, I think flip your perspective. Two, I mean, I tell people all the time, like, I don't know how, I tell my coaches, I'm like, if I don't answer you then like 24 hours, like within my like Facebook Messenger, like ping me again, because most likely I started reading your message and then like a kid started screaming and I put my phone down and it said read and I never went back to it because I thought it was answered. Like other people don't think about us as much as like we're worried about them, right? We're all like, oh my gosh, like they hate me, I'm such a nag. Like, no, they asked you to freaking make them a share cart. You made them a share cart, just remind them. So one thing that I do if I'm like, okay, I followed up, and then I'm following up again, and like the last thing you want to do is get in messages and you just be like pinging. And so right before a group starts, I will do one last follow-up, and I will almost give them away off the hook, but a way that we can re-engage in conversation. So I will say to them, hey, I know we talked about you joining my group. We start tomorrow. I've got your spot saved. I know, like, you have your cart. If this isn't a good time, let me know, because I've got a couple other people in line that I can give your spot to. And I know that almost sounds crazy, right? Because you're like, well, why would I want them to say no? But I would if they are like ghosting you or ignoring you, I would rather just get a no, not right now, than like ghosting. And I have tons of people, I say that to them like, hey, I know I sent you a share a cart, like I've got your spot saved. Let me know if you're gonna be able to check out tonight. If not, I'm just gonna pass your spot on to someone else. And they're like, oh my gosh, thank you for the reminder. I'm gonna check out. If they wanna join, they're gonna join. Thank you for the reminder. If not, they're gonna say, you know, oh yeah, sorry, it doesn't work for me, pass it on. But after they say that, I always say, awesome, I get it. Life is crazy right now. I'm probably gonna be running another group next month. Do you mind if I follow up with you then? And they're like, sure. So now, okay, I gotta know, but I've got a follow-up date. And in between this no and follow-up date, I'm just gonna have normal conversation again, right? Because the people I'm inviting, like Ashley said, these are the people at your dinner table. These are not just success club points. So from there, I wanna re-engage with them. I wanna have real conversation with them. I wanna watch their story and comment on their kid doing something silly. So when I do go back to invite them again, it's not like I like literally every message is just an invite. So I've kind of just been giving them that way out. Like it's not offensive if right now isn't the time to join. I'd still love to have you later, and I'm still going to treat you like a real person in between.
Love it. Love it. Okay, guys, we got a ton of questions. There's no way we're going to get through them. So we're going to have to get a little rapid fire, but then I'm going to ask Ashley a question that's going to make her talk for a long time. So here we go. Ashley, why would someone want to sign up with me when there's thousands of coaches?
Because the people following you don't know about the thousands of coaches. Again, everything you hear on this call, I feel like it just keeps coming back to mindset. I act like I am the prize. I act, and I know, especially having been top coach, that there's a ton of Beachbody coaches following me. And I also know that there's people that are following me that follow multiple other coaches, but I pretend that they don't know about anything Beachbody until I tell them. So I like when we have super trainer groups, that's a great like perk for people, but you are the prize. So I think again, it comes back to the story that you're telling yourself. Like, why would they join us? Because we're not you, and they're following you, and they know you and trust you. They're on your social media. I remember actually, Doug, you were like, hey, do you think you'll use this? Like, I never even talk about really on my social that I'm top coach, because I don't want people to join me for being top coach. I want people to join me that like me, that want me. And I also know sometimes when I don't launch things right when Beachbody does, because maybe I'm not ready or whatever, then I'm going to lose some people because they want Beachbody. So they will go to a different coach who's ready to launch that program. But I, again, want people that want to work with me. And I think if you start acting like you are the prize and start thinking of yourself, I heard way forever ago, Amy Silverman say, when I was a team of one, I used to act like I could sell out a stadium. And I think I was probably a diamond coach when I heard that at a Super Saturday. And so I've always started to think like, yeah, I could sell out a stadium. Like, they're lucky if they get me. And so why would someone join a top 10 coach instead of you? Because they're not you, and you are amazing.
Love it. Love it. Okay, Moira, here's a hard one. How do you explain the business service fee?
To discount coaches or coaches? Which one?
Probably go with both.
Yeah. Well, discount coaches, it's, do you want to earn an income? Like, do you want to get I always say it's like a Costco membership. It's like, oh, you just pay this small fee and you get this huge discount. I think it's also important that everyone assumes like we're just talking about Shakeology, and it's like, no, like you can get everything that you can get cleanses, you can get beach bars for your kids, you can get this, you can get this. Like, it's much more than just the Shakeology discount. And I mean, it's just like a Costco membership. So that's what I always say. And there's a shipping difference. There's a huge shipping difference. We pay way less in shipping. And so it just makes sense. I'm not even going to let you sign up this other way. You know what I mean?
Perfect.
I always think less is more and easy breezy, for sure. I think that's where coaches get bogged down. It's like they talk to them for 15 minutes about the business service fee. And it's just like, oh, that's just what everybody does. No big deal.
Okay. So, Marta, let me ask you another one. What is the best way to follow up with Beachbody leads?
Leads, I mean, leads are tough, right? They're very rarely converting, very rarely engaging back. So I think you honestly just follow up with them, let it go, and move on with your business. That's what I want to say. I mean, you just, you got to follow up with them. Some of my coaches text, some of them I send newsletters that they get every single month. They hear from me on a regular basis, but it is a very short, sweet, like, I'm making sure I'm doing my job to follow up with my leads. I'm 100% present in their inbox. And if they need me, I'm there, but that's not a huge part of my business. I'm worried about, the people that are writing back to me and the people that are engaging with me. So I think right now we're getting so many leads and it's such a huge blessing, but people are like, my coaches came to me and they're like, what are you doing with all these leads? I'm like, same thing I've always been doing. Next, So I think it's important just to know that it's our job to follow up with them. And it's such a huge gift from Beachbody. And it's a responsibility, but it's our job to follow up on a regular basis. But we also need to be focused on the other parts of our business.
Yeah, I love that. Well, and I do think that with BOD groups being implemented, there's going to be some tweaks and adjustments in there. There's going to be some best practices that come from that. And so I think that question may get adapted as BOD groups gets more implemented. All right, Holly, let's jump into, and this is, I guess, more of a balance question, but the way they wrote it is, what are the best tips on how to respond to all the emails and messages from prospects and customers and coaches and still have time left in the day to work on expanding your business?
So, yeah, I think it goes back to using your time intentionally. You have to be intentional with your time. Put up your news, like if you're in Facebook Messenger, I mean, now there's a separate Facebook Messenger app, but for me, I have my pockets of time. Some of them are set for answering messages, and then others are set for, connections and new invites. But I think it's really important to set those blocks of time for both. I also think as you grow a team, you always have to put your business first. That's when coaches start getting in trouble, is when they're like, I have a million questions from my team and I need to do team calls, and that's all great. But your business always has to come first. You have to continue building your business. So you may think, I've got 10 diamonds, I'm about to be or I've got 10 coaches who say they want to work the business, I need to mentor them so I can get to 10 star. They're not all going to show up. You show up for your business first, then show up. It's like an 80-20 rule. It's probably even less than that in the very beginning. So, you know, I think for me, it was in the morning is when I was responding to everyone, kind of clearing that inbox. At night was when I would first do all my invites, like all that. And then I'd answer one more time. So whatever came in throughout the day. But yeah, I think you need to focus on your business first.
I gotta jump in real quick too. Yes, you have to build your own business. Don't get so caught up in who got you emerald and who got you diamond, because they won't get you to the next thing. But also I just want to say, I am opposite of Holly, that I am not an organized person at all. The business activity tracker did not work for me. It made me feel chaotic. So like doing 3 messages, 3 invites, 3 posts, 3 connections, it made me feel chaotic. So what worked for me, and my point in saying this is find what works for you, but what worked for me was I always wanted to wake up. I wanted to have 50 active conversations going. And so I didn't always go out and make 3 new connections every day, but I always wanted to wake up and have 50 active conversations going. And that wasn't all conversations about Beachbody. That was about someone's going to Hawaii, their dog, their sweater, just talking to people, having those conversations. And then once I would wake up and I'd start seeing, 30, 25 new messages, time to send a whole bunch more invites and make a bunch more connections. And then I would do follow-up Friday, and I'd just like blast through and send a follow-up to a whole bunch of people on Friday, so that on Monday I had all those new, conversations going again. So if 3 here, 3 there, if 10 here, 10 there doesn't work for you, find a way that does. And the other thing that I will say is, you hear a lot of coaches talking about, I invite 100 people a day. So then you might think, well, if I can't invite 100 people a day, I can't be successful. You absolutely can. If you can't invite 100, invite 10, because 10 is better than none, right? You don't have to do what the top coaches are doing. You can still be successful. You might not get there as fast. Like inviting 100 people a day that's like a fast track, right? But you can still be successful. So don't think just because you can't do what they're doing that you can't do anything.
Cool. All right, Ash. So here's another question for you. We're going to jump into getting your new coaches started. So that was kind of all about finding and inviting. Now we're going to jump into this, and we're going to run out of time for sure. Ash, what are your best tips on mentoring coaches, specifically coaches who say they want to work the business, but they aren't actually doing any of the suggested business activities?
Then they don't want to work the business. I mean, here, guys. So much, especially in the beginning, so much of your time is spent staying comfortable. And so it's comfortable when you've got people that say they want to work to just let me drag you. Or when you have people that you're messaging, how many times all of us can say at the end of the month, hey, you guys are so close to hitting Success Club. How's it going? Well, I've got 2 share carts out, so I'm good. No, girl, you're not good until those orders are in. Like, I don't understand the concept of I've done my work, so all's good here. I feel like, you've got to keep showing up. Mom brain's taking over right now. Doug, what did you just ask me? Guys, for real, if this happens, What did you just ask me?
How do you mentor coaches who say they want to work?
But right. Okay. So yeah, I feel like it's really important that rather than you spending the energy dragging people, you're spending your energy on continuing to show up for yourself, show up for the team that is showing up, show up on social media, and inviting more people, because maybe those people will eventually start running with you, but maybe they won't. And either way, your time is better served sharing this with more people, or working with the, instead of work with the willing, we heard a couple years ago, I think at Leadership, work with the working. So if talk is cheap. If they're saying something, but their action isn't following up, then that's not who's going to take you to Emerald. That's not who's going to take you to Diamond. Go find those people that will. Awesome.
Love it. Okay. So we got to go quick. Moira, what do your new coach mentorships look like?
Amazing. They look like this. So I get them all signed up. I put them in a message pod. So my May coaches are together in a message pod. My April coaches are together. My March coaches are together. And so I focus on their journeys. If they've come into Beachbody for a business opportunity, then they are 100% focused on their journey first. So 3 vital behaviors, like a soul, and I say, fitness, nutrition, personal development, those 3 vital behaviors. So they are focused on learning this forwards and backwards before we jump into any business mentorship. And then after 2 or 3 weeks, I get them on a GSR call. And for the next few weeks, we get on calls weekly, where I kind of just bring them through. Like, first of all, it's, Success Club, Success Starters, Emerald, all that kind of stuff. And then we start digging into a little bit of social media, morning process, stuff like that. So I have them on a thread. I have them on a call once a week. And then my team does New Coach University, which is basically the corporate training videos. So again, simple Sally, not spending my time reinventing the wheel, use the resources that are out there. And at that point, they're kind of off to the races. We obviously do diamond training. So like the next steps would be like, let's get you into diamond training. Let's learn a little bit deeper, but keep doing the same things. So that's kind of what it looks like.
Okay. So Holly, I guess this is kind of the same thing. How do we onboard newer coaches? Really, this should be, whoever's asking this, how do I onboard newer coaches when I never had any guidance myself?
I think kind of what Moira said, you use the resources you have, and corporate has incredible resources out there. So whatever has gotten you to this point, if you're recruiting coaches and you're an Emerald or you're a Diamond, wherever you are, what are the resources that you used? How can you help answer that person's questions? But then use the corporate resources. Use the Beachbody Champions page has freaking every training in the world. There's live power hours on there. If she's like, what do I do? Go get on your first live power hour, right? I'd say business activity tracker, the corporate like new coach training videos, get whoever your new coach on the Beachbody Champions page and start there, because this business is really simple and we love to overcomplicate it. So the resources are there. Just help set her up. Just point your coach in that direction and you're good.
Okay, so Holly, a follow-up for that. Well, really a different subject, but how often do you check in with your customers one-on-one? What does a typical check-in message look like to a customer?
So I was using the My Challenge Tracker app, which allowed us to email everyone. So I'm hoping this is coming in future bod groups where we can email everyone in our group. So that I would check in with everyone once a week through there. And I would just to check in, like Sunday before we kicked off on Monday, we had like our little prep week. Sunday night, hey, you good to go? Did you get your rest? Everything set up, make sure they're good for the week. Then week 1, hey, like a Thursday, how's it going? How'd the first few days of workouts go? Week 2, I know a lot of times people hit plateaus. Week 1, we're excited. Week 2 is like, meh. So I'm checking in again and being like, listen, I know this is kind of the hard week. How's your family adjusting to the meal plan? Are you all eating? Where are you finding issues? And then same thing, week 3, because I do a lot of like 21-day groups. Week 3 would be, kind of a wrap up. And then like, what do we a lot of my customers start with like 21-day facts. And so then like, where are we continuing? How are we continuing this journey? Or like, even if it's not a 21-day, what are you enjoying about this? Do you like hate cardio? Do you hate this? Or do you like love this workout? Because we have a million different ones. So it's also like, you don't like this program, let's get you on one that you do. And then the other way that I stay in contact with my customers, like Moira, so I do weekly emails. So I have a newsletter that goes out every single week. So in that, I try to provide value, just as we talked about. So I'm linking them to one of my value add like videos on social media. I am putting another sort of value add thing in there in terms of maybe a recipe, something that the whole family can use, some sort of fun like thing for kids, because I got a lot of moms. And then there will be something about, if I have an upcoming group, message me if you're ready to join the next group. So they always know that there's a resource there for them. But I really utilize my challenge tracker and then weekly emails.
Awesome. Love it. Okay. So Ash, I love inviting to challenge groups, but I have a hard time inviting to the coaching opportunity, but I have a passion for this business. What suggestions do you have for me?
I think probably comparison is playing a little bit of a role there. And I did it too. But in the beginning, you think, well, I can't share coaching because I don't make that much money yet, or I don't have a big team yet, so I can't share it. And I'll tell you, when I started, I didn't make money and I didn't have a big team yet either. But what I did have was an amazing community. And I had something that allowed me to dream again, that made me excited. It wasn't just climbing the corporate ladder. It was something else. Like I could think about a whole new future for us. I was a serial dieter, and I had now this piece that helped me stay accountable. There are so many perks to coaching that have nothing to do with how big your team is or how big your paycheck is. And so I think if you can just ask yourself, how has coaching affected me? Like you said you have a passion for it. So what makes you passionate about it? Talk about those things. I know a big thing that Holly talks about is sharing her dreams and her goals with people. Like that's before the achievement is there. She's sharing her dreams with people. And so many people are checking boxes, going through the motions. They don't even dream anymore. They don't think about what life is possible for them out there. So I think stop thinking about that you don't have this to share, because you've got so many amazing things. This coaching opportunity is so incredible for so many things outside of how big your team is and how big your paycheck is.
Okay, it looks like we're gonna wind this thing down. We're not gonna get to every question. We'll go quick. We'll probably do one more round, and then one final question to be done. So Moira, how do you keep your team motivated?
I stay motivated. I stay fired up. It's like I'm constantly like leaning into my workouts and my personal development and setting new goals that scare the crap out of me. And like, I am fired up. And when I am fired up, they are fired up. And if I'm not fired up, it doesn't trickle down. Like we are absolutely the pace car.
Perfect. Holly, what's one piece of advice you would give a new working and growing Emerald coach?
So the basics, you got to focus on the basics, right? You always have to be hitting Success Club. But then I think what Ashley said too about not being afraid to talk about coaching. God, just start talking about coaching too. Share that other part of your journey. I find that it's so easy for us to share our workouts, right? That's part of our job. We're going to share our workouts. We're going to share our food. But why aren't you sharing the other part of what you're doing? And share what you're doing and share where you're going. And you're going to start attracting those business builders to you. Because I know that's what everyone says when they get to, how do I find my business builders? Well, you're not going to find a business builder by hiding behind workouts and acting like you don't even have an opportunity for anyone to join. So my best advice is find that confidence, find that vision. And if you're watching this call right now, why can't you share that you're on here? Why can't you share that you have resources where you get to hear from the top coaches in the company? And you can share that with other people, those people thinking about joining. So that is like my top piece of advice for new coaches is, gosh, just stop overthinking sharing the coaching opportunity. Share what you're doing and share where you're going.
Love it. Ash, what are some tips you would recommend to a mom starting her business and is expecting a baby in 6 weeks? Can I still grow a business without fitness motivation?
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're having a baby in 6 weeks, I think there's a ton of moms out there that are going to relate to whatever part of your journey that you're on. Even if you're early pregnancy, I think it's just sharing how you're showing up for you. So, I just went through a pregnancy and I wasn't really able to work out that much during it. My body just wasn't wanting me to do it. So when I get questions about what program did you do, I think it's just showing up in ways that you are taking care of you, showing up and doing your workout when you can, personal development, still staying plugged into your community, both coaching and your challenge group, and sharing that. And then I think it's brilliant because you have all these seeds that are planting and they're going to be watching you. And then once you are ready to get back into fitness, they're already bought into all the other pieces of this opportunity that now you can add the fitness element in, and you'll start working on your own physical transformation again, and people will be inspired by that.
Love it. Love it. Okay. Last question for each of you. And I am going to do a different question for each of you. So here we go. Moira, your last question is, what advice would you give these coaches to go and do today?
I would say go write down your vision and read it every freaking day. Like go step into the I have, this is who I am. Just like Ashley says, I am the CEO of $1 million business. You got to remind yourself of that every single day. I have a 5-star Diamond Elite team. I mean, I think we all know what to do. We all know what to do. It is laid out in front of us. What blocks so many people is the belief in themselves or the disconnect from the why behind what we're doing. And you got to get crystal clear on that and remind yourself of it every single day.
Okay, so I am going to keep that. I like that as a theme. Holly, what would you tell them they should go and do today?
I mean, it is all mindset. So it's so hard because it's like that's the basis, right? So you've got the mindset. For me, I think the best thing you can do for your business besides your mindset is become crystal clear on who you're talking to and what their why would be. So I get so many coaches, they don't know their avatar. They don't know who they're talking to. They don't know. Everyone's like, well, how do I add value? Well, what would your person find value in? If you don't know who you're talking to right now today, and you don't know the pillars of your brand, then you're just throwing stuff out on social media and hoping someone connects with it. So when we're talking about having to grow social media, it all comes down to being real, authentic, and finding a way to connect with others. And unless you know the person you're connecting with, it's not going to work. And so while you're writing your vision and you are writing down that why and you're writing your affirmations, I then want you to write down who your avatar is. And I want you to think of their pain points. What would be their why for joining this business? What would be their why for needing health and fitness? So that you can then take that and connect with them on social media and provide them the value that they need.
Love it. Love it. Okay. So Ash, you're the number one coach 2 years in a row. So my final question for you would be, what's the number one tip for success for a newer coach today?
Well, it's still kind of, I had prepared my answer for the last question. It's still kind of the same. So yes, mindset, get clear on, who you're speaking to. For me, it's doing the damn work. This is not work. This right here, it's great. But again, it's so many things that you do in the beginning. You're like, this feels like work. I'm on social media. I'm scrolling. Oh, that was work. I'm watching all these trainings. That was work. It's not. This is not work. Like doing the invites, talking to people, getting yourself out there, that is what's going to move your business forward. This call doesn't move your business forward. So this is extra. This is bonus. Put on trainings when you're working out or put on trainings when you're doing things. When I worked at corporate, I was like in a spreadsheet and I would be listening to wake up calls, right? But that wasn't work because this doesn't move your business forward. This feels like work. So it's really easy in a month or 2 months or 3 months to be like, I've been working so hard and nothing's happening. Well, have you just been watching trainings or have you just been scrolling Instagram? That doesn't move your business forward. So you've been staying comfortable and it feels like work. You can call it work, but it's not moving your business forward. If you are not uncomfortable every single day, you're not going to grow your business. You don't grow a business inside your comfort zone. It just doesn't happen. So yes, work on your mind and get clear on who you're talking to, but it is also really important to stop getting stuck in I'm working when you're not actually inviting or putting yourself out there or doing the damn work.
Love it. Love it. Man, just mic drop. All right. Nice job, you guys. Thank you for being here. Moira Kusaba, Holly Hillier, Ashley Molstad. We love you guys. Thank you so much for all the work that you do. Man, every coach in the network should watch this. Thank you guys for doing this. We will talk to you soon. Okay, we'll see you.